Hi there, Dr. Gary here on the road. We sell dental practices nationwide. We are dental practice brokers. I was a dentist for 25 years and now doing this for the last 14 years, and we enjoy every day. Well, almost every day. We do enjoy and have fun what we do. But anyway, today's topic is when it comes to buying a dental practice, during the process, you have to be prepared for any and all emergency, known or unknown, foreseen or unforeseen. And we're going to get into that. So as you know, we now are in 22 states, just opened up Louisiana. We have 10 employees, and we're available to you 363 days a year. We take off Christmas and Easter. You can reach us from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. Our contact information is 201-663-0935. And our website is dentalpracticeguide.com or nationwidedentalpracticebrokers.com. You can reach us from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. East Coast time. So call us anytime. Now, if you're thinking about everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes, not legal advice. If you're thinking about selling to a DSO, remember we work closely with them. We're not engaged with them. We're independent. But when we know who the best ones are, we know all the changes happening with the DSOs. There's a lot of them in year 23, 24. We just know what the changes are and everything. Our phone number and our experience will help you, and it doesn't cost you anything because they generally pay our commission. So usually there's no commission to the seller when it comes to a DSO. Also, when you work with us, we will get your legal fees reimbursed at successful closing based on certain criteria. That will be any and all practices grossing over $1 million based on criteria. We'll get your legal fees reimbursed at successful closing. I don't think there's anybody in the country doing that. So what are we talking about? Any and all emergencies, and how do you know? I'm doing this 14 years, and there's always a surprise. Every dental contract is a little different. Even though you all think, oh, it's a boilerplate, there's always a little twist. There's always a specific request. There's always something different. There's always a state regulation, a guideline, credentialing issue, employment issue for the doctor staying on. It's like there's always something. So pulling something off the shelf doesn't work, thinking you're going to save money and tell the attorney use this contract. They use their own contract that works well for them. They're not going to use a boilerplate contract. And you try to do it yourself, nightmare, because what you think you're saving $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on, you'll lose so much money in the end if there's a problem. And there's a problem with your estate. That's the big problem. If something happens with your estate, you got a real big problem, and you're not around. It is the contract is the only thing you have to go upon. Your initial contract from it could be 20 years ago. That's what you have to rely on. So you need a great contract. Anything can go wrong with these things. So when I talk about emergencies, we are prepared as brokers with all our experience of 25 years in the dental office and 14 years doing the dental transition practice sales. You know, we've had tremendous exposure, and I think at this point, certainly, we can handle or adapt to any emergency, but you got to be prepared for the emergency. Preparation for the emergency, or it could be just a little twist that the bank, all of a sudden, you don't have enough money, you think, for the consultants you need, or if you want to do insurance credentialing, you need a little extra money, and you're not going to have it. Well, you know, you're going to need a dental bank that will understand your needs and make a little more money available for you. It's a last-minute crisis, but they'll have that money for you. You could consider that a problem or an emergency issue. They're prepared. Your attorneys are prepared for these emergencies because the dental attorneys have done this so many times. So virtually anything that comes up, they can manage it. That's the key. They can manage it, the unforeseen. Now, I'll give you an example of what we do and we as brokers. Today I went to pick up one of the cars. I keep it in the storage garage. And get in the car and there's a dead battery. I'm like, what happened here? Just used the car 2 weeks ago. The battery's dead. Well, I have an auxiliary button on the car for a second battery built into the system. I just hit that button. Generally, that starts the car if the main battery's dead. Well, the primary battery is dead. I push the auxiliary battery, that's dead. This has never happened. Never, ever happened before. Well, it just so happens, I'm saying we as brokers are always prepared. That's just the way I think. I happen to carry an independent, mobile, lithium battery that's a jump in your car. You know, it looks like twice the size of a cell phone. Twice the thickness, twice the size. That's about it. It holds the charge. The thing is unbelievable. It fits almost in the palm of your hand. And fortunately, I'm prepared. I had that third battery. You would think, well, what do you need 2 batteries for? Why would you ever need 3 batteries? Well, there's a situation. That's what it's like in these deals, because things go haywire. Problems happen. You have to be prepared and have the tools to be prepared. That's what we do for you. That's the way I think. That's why I answer the phone 24/7. Because this past Saturday morning, I'm on the beach, and all of a sudden, a concession that we were waiting for from the seller came through. He agreed to he gave in. It was one of the requests by the buyer, and he wasn't budging. All of a sudden, he gave in. And he acknowledged, he said, okay, I'll accept the terms. It had to do with post-closing employment and so forth, and he was adamant about not working as long as the buyer wanted. But we negotiated back and forth, but the seller was still holding out. Well, it was Saturday morning, and we were going to have a closing soon. And this is the only thing tying us up. It was Saturday morning on Memorial Day weekend, or maybe it was Friday. I think it was Saturday. So I got the call, and I'm at the beachfront. I got my phone. The call comes in. I said, oh, this is fantastic. I said, great, you're doing the right thing. Boom. I then called the seller's attorney. I emailed him. I emailed the buyer's attorney. And then I got on the phone with the buyer. I said, he acknowledged and will accept the longer working period. It has to happen right away. But you just have to be prepared. Now, had we waited, it would have been till Tuesday, because after Memorial Day, we would have lost 4 or 5 days. Now, we told them today's Saturday. Dental attorneys usually available and working on the weekends. Everybody's alerted. The buyer's alerted, buyer's attorney's alerted, seller's attorney's alerted. Everybody's on board. So come Monday, that was the first thing to be taken care of. And there were some emails going back and forth concerning this concession. He gave in. And that's how you have to be. So, but emergencies, just like this car, who would dream you need a third, I repeat, a third backup battery? Most people never do it. I just do it. That's the way I am. That's the way we think. On my house, when I leave, especially for a weekend or head down to the beach, shut the water off. Main water shut off. I was at a party this weekend, a beach party. I asked a couple of the guys, do you shut your water off when you leave? Oh, no. I said, why don't you do that? I said, well, we never had a problem before. I said, well, my buddy had a beach house and a pipe burst, not because of cold, a solder joint burst on the 3rd floor of his circulating hot water baseboard heat. Water drained for 3 weeks through the whole house from 3rd floor down to 1st floor, out, and he was on an angle, he was on the river, and it went out to the river. 3 weeks. What happened to the house? House turned into a mold bomb. A mold bomb. They had to tear the house down. Entire house. And insurance didn't cover anything. They covered, but not everything. Had to fight them like crazy. It was a nightmare. And all he could have prevented that, by one valve. Shut off the water. And you could put a solenoid on and tell the electrician and plumber to hook up a solenoid, one switch. Boom, everything off. You never have to worry. Because all of the systems in your house are, is pressurized. Your washer, dryer, pressurized. The toilets, the sink, it's pressurized water. And you just hope the pressure holds. on a, what do you call it, on a washer, that's a pressurized rubber hose. It could burst. And this kid had it for 3 weeks. So it just happens. That is your example. That's what you have to be prepared. What do you do as the buyer and the seller? First of all, you need the time, if these emergencies happen, to be prepared and handle it. Second, you need the right attorneys who can manage the crisis. Third, you need the right dental bank, you as the buyer, to manage this. And fourth, you have a broker, hopefully like we are. We're ready for your emergency. We don't know what it's going to be, when it's going to strike, how it's going to strike, what time it's going to strike. Is the emergency going to happen at the beginning of the transaction? Is it going to happen a day or two before the transaction? We've had them happen the morning of the transaction, 7:30 in the morning. I think this past summer I gave you that example. It was a crisis about credentialing, and the seller didn't understand something, and I'm not doing this. I'm not accepting this deal. This is the crisis early in the morning of the closing. So you, seller, need a dental attorney. Buyer needs a dental attorney that can manage the crisis and also available. We as brokers, that's why we feel that we're one of the better brokers out there. In fact, without pinning two medals on myself, of course, too many medals, I had one of the DSO salespeople who's been doing this for a long time. I said, well, how do we rate this? He says, you're a 1%er. You're in the top 1% of brokers in the country. It's a pleasure working with you. You're ready for everything, prepared for everything, return all the phone calls, get on top of everything, resolve all the issues. That's what we feel we provide for you. So those of you who think you can get this done without a broker, well, okay, but you don't have experience to draw on. We're always prepared. We have that third battery, let alone a second battery, that you didn't think of, because we're prepared. It never happened to me before. I never had a third battery needed because I always had the auxiliary battery. So why carry the third battery? I carry it anyway. And it came in handy today. It's the first time I've used it. I can't remember in how many years. I don't think I've ever used it. But I carried the battery for maybe 14, 15, 20 years. That's it. Got to be ready. You need brokers that are ready, attorneys, bankers. Be prepared for crisis and emergencies. A seller generally has been through more in their life. They're a little more accustomed to it. A buyer isn't. So sometimes you as a seller, we have to work with the broker, reassure the buyer, hey, these things happen. This is crisis. This is life. Success is not easy. So just be prepared, be ready. We're there for you. All right, we are closing in on 500 YouTube videos, I think. We're shooting for over 1,000 because I'm never going to retire. I'm having too much fun. Hit the subscribe button because we're banging out videos, two times a week, sometimes 3 times a week. So hit that subscribe button and we'll get on it for you. All right, great talking to you. You have a wonderful day. I think we're looking at a beach day today. Yeah.